Welcome to Impact Duty. I'm your host, Manisha Dadlani Kripalani, bringing you empowering stories of friends and people I admire. Their voices have given me joy and the momentum to share their stories with you. A nutritionist and dietitian, Gayatri Chona believes health is about living healthy, feeling great, enjoying the food you love, and loving the energy you get from exercise. With a degree in dietetics and a master's in human nutrition and over 12 years of experience, Gayatri has worked towards sharing her knowledge about the science of food and the importance of a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. Hi, Gayatri. Welcome to Impact Duty. How are you doing?
Hi, Manisha. Very well. Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Really excited and looking forward to this.
Me too. Totally. How's it over there where you are right now? Weather-wise and otherwise?
Currently. Weather-wise, it's beautiful. Cannot complain. I'm in Dubai right now. Dubai has been home for the last 6 months, and it's going to be home for another 6 more months till we go back to India, Bombay. But it's been great. Dubai has treated us really well in COVID times, so no complaints.
Excellent. And Gayatri, I'm looking forward to our conversation today because you've had a beautiful journey as a nutritionist. With a different focus, focusing on the simple side of life. So I'm going to take you through your journey and ask you a little bit more about the concept of simple life.
All right. So, the reason where simple came from, honestly, is, I have been a nutritionist for around 15 years now. I studied it. I did it growing up. And I think I get that from my mom. She was always into health and nutrition when we were growing up as kids. I always remember coming home from school and having a hotly prepared snack for us, which was always put on the table for my brother and me. There was a glass of freshly squeezed orange juice. She would bake a cake for us. So those are my memories growing up. For us, even travel was about, choosing the right kind of foods, eating healthy. We've never really grown up with process. Luckily, back in the day when we were growing up, process wasn't so big. The whole McDonald's and the fast food concept was still just coming to India at that point, right? But for us at home, this was food. We were always given everything we wanted to eat, but it was freshly made and quantities were always in proportion. So we've grown up with that. And I think for me today, I hold those values and I want to imbibe them and continue that with my kids. I have 2 boys, 11 and 7.5. And I see the difference. And I see that how food impacts everything that we do, right? It's truly, we are what we eat. And it cannot be more true. And today what's happened is that we've complicated a simple thing, the simple act of eating, and something as simple and necessary as food. There's too much information. We've taken a simple food and fancied it up. We've broken food into carbs, proteins, fats, and 100 other things, right? So now we don't look at a plate of rice or chapati or dal or anything or a burger as food. We analyze it, we dissect it, and we break it into, oh, that's got carbs, oh, that's got fat, or this has trans fats, and etc. So the idea of simple came from to bring back the simple joy of food, because that's what I've grown up with, and that's what food has always been for me. So when I was choosing to study and take my for further education, it was always between. For my love was always for biology, to understand the human anatomy, to get to know the human body better. So for me, it was the toss-up between nutrition and psychology. And so these were the 2 things I had kind of shortlisted to take forward. And obviously, nutrition is what kind of trumped, and I thought, let me go with this. And as I said, my mom had a big role to play with in that aspect. I studied it. I did my dietetics in nutrition in Bombay, and then I took it forward to do my master's in human nutrition in Sheffield in UK.
Wow, that's incredible.
But the irony is that 1 year when I was in the UK studying nutrition, I probably had the most unhealthy eating habits. Because you're living a student life, right? You're living a student life, you're erratic eating patterns, you skip breakfast. And I came back after that 1 year with acne, put on weight, and studying nutrition. So that was the weird part, right? You're studying something to get healthy, but
Right.
the student life and all of those things have not helped. And it's only when you put it into practice and when you
Right.
start, doing things, you realize what are the things you need to change. And it's the small habits and it's the simple changes that you do every day, which have a bigger impact.
Right. Right. Totally, Gayatri.
And I think for me, that's where my journey began, coming back, figuring. And I think today, for the biggest thing for me is to first understand my body. Today, if I know what I feel, what works for me, will I be able to help you or anybody else, right? So
Right.
understanding your own self is number one part of, for anybody. I mean, not just as a nutritionist, but for you as well, for anybody else. And that's what I tell most of my clients, that nobody knows your body better than you. Neither do
Right.
I. You have to help me figure you out. You have to listen to yourself first to see this is working for me or this is not working for me. I can tell you, I can give you this gospel of diet that do this and don't do this and follow this diet and here's the recipe. But if it doesn't go for you, it doesn't work for you, it doesn't go with your mind and body connection, it'll never work. And that's why most diets fail. I have so many people, I call them the diet junkies, who'll hop, hop, hop and come from all over and try this diet and that diet. And they know it all, really. Like they
Right.
intimidate me. I'm like, okay, I need to answer these questions. I need to know. But they are the ones who don't know their own selves because they're listening to so many people, but not to their own body.
Totally.
And our body talks to us. It tells us when we are tired, when we are cranky, when we are fatigued, when we are happy, when we are hungry, everything. It's just that we lose out on those signs and those little cues that our body tells us. And that's where the disconnect happens. And when the mind and the body is not connected is when we have illnesses, we have deficiencies, we have diseases and all of it.
Right.
So I think to understand that was where my journey started. I did my master's. Coming back, I started working. I worked under a few nutritionists in Bombay, because I think whatever knowledge you'll get from the book, it's only when you put it into practice, when you actually interact with people, is where the true learning happens.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, learning from, sorry, you were asking me.
No, I was saying, and you do also have a family background in food, in the sense that, if I'm not mistaken, you do have entities, restaurants and stuff.
Yes, so it's coming to that then. So
Yes.
I got married right after, and I moved to Ahmedabad, and that's where my family business was, my husband's family, and they're into restaurants and ice creams, complete opposite of what I talk about. But again, I say I don't think ice creams are bad or food is bad. The problem is the quantities, is when we eat disproportionately, when we eat at bad timings, when we eat poor quality is when the problem happens. And I think that's where the journey began. I moved there. I said, I'm in the heart of Guju land. I'm in Ahmedabad. Gujaratis are known to have really unhealthy eating habits. And this is something I'm talking about 13 years back, or 12, 13 years back when I started my health center. At that time, dietitians and nutritionists were not so popular. The whole idea of choosing healthy and eating healthy was still not really spoken about and not there. And I said, you know what, let's just try doing this. I was this young 24-year-old girl who tried to say, you know what, you can't do this and you need to eat healthier. And like people told me, no one's going to take you seriously, you're this little girl, you look at you, and I don't think people will want to come to you for advice. And maybe if you want to make yourself sound serious and, you should wear a sari at your health center. Don't wear a dress or a shirt and a pant. Wear a sari. Maybe then they'll take you seriously. And I was like, really? I don't think my clothes matter in what in terms of work. It's what I speak and what I know is what will, is what matters. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do this my way, and I'm going to do it the way I need to do it. So no sari, I wore my blazers, or I wore my shirt and pants or my dress or whatever I needed to wear. And I went and I started my health center. And it was a beautiful journey. It was under the name of Balance, and
Ooh.
it Latin for balance and healthy living. That's where it came from. And I started that in 2008, is right after 6 months into getting married is when I started it. And while I was doing that, I took a course in Lamaze, that is exercises and nutrition and care for during pregnancy and post.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I started taking Lamaze classes for pregnant women. I did that till I had my firstborn, after
Ah,
which, because it needed so much personal care and attention, it is something I just couldn't kind of take forward. So the
right,
diets continued, the care continued, but the exercises itself, I couldn't cope up with that. So,
right.
but the health center was on, and I mean, touchwood, I think the city was amazing. The people there gave me a fabulous response. They opened, they welcomed me with open arms. I didn't feel I'm a little girl who needs to prove myself wearing a sari. But yes, it
Excellent.
was a beautiful journey. And I think my
Wonderful.
biggest learning was in those 10 years of practicing. But I think my passion was always for food. Love food. I love to travel and try different foods. I think both my husband and me as a couple, and now our kids, we love to go to different, you try different cuisines, experiment. For us, travel is a mix of experiences where food plays a very big part. So in, I think around 2010, I worked on a cafe concept we called Hoover and Holly, where we wanted to start a cafe which was different from the regular ones that was there. So we did freshly churned ice creams with no preservatives, no color, all freshly made ingredients in-house. We
Right.
did the menu that I curated for it was, using freshly baked croissant, avocados, things which were not readily available in
Available.
Ahmedabad at that point. They were not there part of a menu. So there were thin crust pizzas. We did these really thin, freshly made wood fire pizzas, and it's still there today. Hoover and Holly is. We have about 8 of them across India. 3 in Pune.
Excellent.
We have 3 in Hyderabad. We have 2 in Ahmedabad. So yeah. So today the concept still as is doing very well, and I think we're the only ones who are doing really exotic flavors and freshly churned ice creams and absolutely preservative free.
Wonderful, Gayatri. And with that, I get to bust some myths with you or get your perspective on a few
Sure.
ideas that are quite prevalent out there. And the first one is intermittent fasting is for
Ah,
everyone. Okay. I mean,
yes.
I've jumped on the intermittent fasting bandwagon, but I'm going to get your perspective on this.
So I find it very interesting with the whole, I'll always have someone come and ask me, so tell me, what is it that you give us? Is it keto? Are you keto? Are you IF? Are you this? And it always amuses me. So here's my bit on IF. Intermittent fasting is actually been practiced for years, generations by our ancestors. If you go
Right.
back into Indian, um, ancestral mythology, not only mythology, if you just look at how our ancestors lived, Jainism, where we follow the cycle of the sun. Intermittent fasting is now um, jazzed up and packaged into called intermittent fasting. But intermittent fasting in its true form is nothing but following the cycle of the sun. We as humans also, our bodies follow the cycle of the sun. When we
Right.
wake up is when our metabolism is waking up as the sun is rising. That's why they say your morning is the prime time, right? That when
Hmm.
your body is waking up, it's like the sun rising, and at noon it's at its peak. That's why most of us are super hungry at lunch. That 12, 11 to 1 time is where our hunger pangs kick in and the
Right.
hunger juices flow, because that's when our digestion is at its best. So whatever you eat, your stomach acids are roaring to come and digest it, and because that's our peak time. So, and as the day starts setting, similar thing happens with our metabolism. Our metabolism
Hmm.
starts gradually and slowly slowing down, and by sunset, it's when it said, okay, hey, I'm done for the day. Let's pack up shop. I need to rest, recuperate to function efficiently for day two.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's purely what we call the cycle of the sun. It's what you call today the circadian rhythm.
Circadian.
You call intermittent fasting. So they're
Yeah.
all different words for the same thing. But now here's the thing with intermittent fasting. What people are doing today, right? Are you doing 16 hours, 14 hours, 12 hours? These are number of hours, right? They say,
Right.
I do
Exactly.
16-8.
8.
That's the most
Right.
popular, 16-8, where you fast for 16 hours and you eat for 8 hours. So what people are doing, they have kind of messed it up. They've
Mhm.
taken it and said, you know what, this sounds like a great strategy. So first things, IF is not a diet, it is a strategy. So
Mhm.
what they've
Mhm.
done is they've said, okay, let me take this strategy and let me see how I can play it to my advantage.
Right.
So what people are doing is that they follow the 16-18 rule as the rule of thumb. That's it.
Right.
Forgetting everything else around it.
Right.
That's the problem. So when you do that, what comes with IF is 2, 3 things. So I could have dinner or drinks at 10 in the night and say, now for 16 hours, I'm not going to eat. I'm going to straight away land up eating at 4 or 5 in the evening. So,
Right.
but your day still continues. You have to still wake up and go to work. You have to still get up and send your kids to school. You have to still get up and go to the gym. And you're
Right.
doing all that on a fatigued and empty stomach. When
Mhm.
your gastric juices are roaring and raging to go, you're killing them by not eating.
Mm. Mm.
And as the day is progressing and slowing down, you're giving this monstrous amount of food to your body because you've not eaten in 16 hours. And of course, you're hungry. And of course, you want to gorge on whatever you see. And so at those odd hours, you'll end up eating. So that's the first issue. Second is when you keep changing your day. Like today, I eat at 7 in the evening. Tomorrow, I'm going out, so I'll eat at 10 p.m. Or there are days you're drinking and having a late night, even later
Yes.
than that. And the next day, your lunch keeps changing because obviously you're going as per the 16-hour rule. So
Right.
you're going on shifting the time of your meal.
Mhm.
Now, this messes with our body's circadian rhythm. Now, our body is almost like a clock. We all have seen this, and I'm sure you've noticed it. If you wake up every day at say 6 a.m. or 7 a.m., after 20 days, automatically, with or without an alarm, your eyes will open at that time because
Yes.
your body clock is set. Similarly, if you're used to eating breakfast every day at 8 a.m. or 1 p.m. or is lunch for you, automatically, without you asking for food, you'll suddenly feel a rumble in your stomach. You'll feel, why am I not getting? I need to eat. Headaches will come in. You'll suddenly
Right.
feel fatigued or low because that's the body telling you, hey, where's my food? It's 1 p.m. I need my lunch.
Right.
So the body clock is set. That's your body talking to you. What I said, we don't listen to our body. That's the body telling us, it's time for my meal. Give me the food. But
Mhm.
when we do IF, which is erratic timings, that's when the
Mhm.
body's confused. So it doesn't
Mhm.
know when to produce the stomach acids. It doesn't know when to rumble. It doesn't know when to ask for food. So what happens with most people, they're either constantly irritable because the food pattern is erratic. The body is saying, hey, I don't know what's going on. I don't know when I'm going to get my food. I'm angry. I'm hungry and I'm irritable. And there's all of those things. The blood sugar spikes are crazy.
Right.
And the second thing that happens is the stomach acids don't know when to come and produce. So that is a big problem because that is what leads to acidity, indigestion. And then most people who do IF, and that's the biggest problem when people have come to me for a diet and said, I'm suffering with acidity and indigestion and burping and all of those. It's because they've followed erratic intermittent fasting. So the body starts, so when you've eaten so much food, the stomach acids are not there to digest it.
Right.
So the body is just struggling with that excessive amount of food coming in at an odd hour when it's not used to it. And that's the problem with IF. But IF done well, if we stick to our IF, what we've done and learned and know and follow the cycle of the sun is a beautiful concept. And it can do wonders to your body, but
Thank you,
done right.
Gayatri.
So, yeah.
Thank you for that. My next one is sleep is overrated. Okay, so 20s and 30s, we're partying away. And what are you talking about? Quality sleep? What are you talking about? I need
Yeah.
enough hours and I need good sleep. Okay, and even in our
Yes.
40s, okay, well, I'm there. I can manage on 6 hours of sleep. What's the big deal? All right, sleep is
Yeah.
overrated. I'm handing that one to you.
Sleep is not overrated. Sleep is something which I think, sadly, today's, we always heard, the older generation say, oh, I don't get sleep anymore. I have these aches and pains. Once people cross their 40s, 50s, you hear sleep complaints. The sad truth for today is with the way lifestyles we're living, it's the young teenagers and people in their 20s who are complaining of insomnia, who are complaining of erratic sleep, who are talking, we're taking melatonin. Who heard of melatonin? A 20-something taking melatonin to sleep. We've not heard of these things.
Yeah.
But the sad truth is, it is the reality of today. It is. And we don't realize how sleep plays such an important role in balancing everything in our body. Because sleep and rest is the time when the body resets and rejuvenates. Our body builds immunity when we are sleeping. When we are on lack of sleep, it's as simple as your phone or any electronic gadgets that we are constantly hooked to. If it's not charged, it'll start draining and weakening the gadget. If I don't keep charging my phone device or my laptop and I keep draining it till, and halfway charged, I'll use it and keep draining it, the battery becomes weaker and weaker. That's the same with our body. When we don't have enough sleep, we're working on low fuel, low energy, and the body is overcompensating then. And people will say, oh, I have hair fall, my skin is breaking out, I need to eat supplements. It's not the supplements that will help. It's just sleep. It's just sleep. And even weight loss, body never loses weight if you're on lack of sleep. So I tell everybody, if you've had a late night, don't wake up and hit the gym. Sleep it off. You rather sleep than go burn in the gym, because that burn is not going to help, because you're burning on a fatigued body, which is not fully rested. So sleep is not, I think sleep is something which is now coming to forefront, which was never spoken about. Sleep was always that, for me, sleep is it's that missing piece to that puzzle, to your health puzzle. That's how important sleep is. And I think another reason why we're talking about it so much today, especially with the younger, is because of gadgets. We are constantly subjecting ourselves to the blue light, which takes away, which puts off those sensors in our brain that says, hey, stay awake. That's why the body can't shut down, and that's why we have insomnia. So there is a reason behind it, and that's why today we're talking about sleep. And there are so many sleep therapists today to tell you how to sleep, because we're just doing things wrongly. I think that's the only way I can say it. That's why we need to go back and simplify. And I keep coming back to simple, because it's just only if you simplify it will you get the solution. The minute we overcomplicate the simple things, we've just lost the battle on that, on health.
Thank you, Gayatri. My last one coming your way is PCOS. Yes, there is a fair amount of talk on PCOS recently. However, it's still a concept that a lot of us don't really know too much about, or are not aware of. And if we do, we believe it's a condition we need to live with. So I'm going to ask you to first explain it, and then tell us how we live with it.
So PCOS is called it's mainly polycystic ovarian syndrome, right? That's PCOS. A lot of women go through PCOS, and the thing with PCOS is, and the reason why it's spoken about so much, that because no two women have the same PCOS. So it is not like diabetes or cholesterol, where hey, you have high cholesterol, hey, you have high sugar. PCOS can exhibit very different symptoms for me versus you, versus someone else, another XYZ. So we could be 5 women all having PCOS, but with entirely different symptoms.
Okay.
And that's why PCOS, it is complicated, and it needs to be looked at more as a lifestyle issue rather than a disease. That's why they don't even call it PCOD anymore. They've taken away from disease and they call it a syndrome. Because it's not a disease, right? It is a condition, and it is something serious. But the thing is that, again, the solution to most of people think, there's so many myths around PCOS. I mean, we can do another 1-hour talk on PCOS if we have to. But just to put it in a nutshell for you, PCOS needs to be looked at more as a lifestyle thing. No, you don't have to live with it for the rest of your life, but you manage it. And what happens is, when you have a flare, when the body is obviously going through the hormone, it's basically a hormonal imbalance, which causes weight gain, hair, acne for young girls and women of any age, actually, not just young girls. You could be of any age. There are lots of myths around it. You can't get pregnant if you have PCOS. You can't do this, but that's not entirely true. But coming back to it, you have to learn to manage it. And again, I
Mm-hmm.
come back to my first thing, what I started with is knowing your body. What is working for you?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that the minute you understand that this works for me and this doesn't work for me, you will have the upper hand on the PCOS. You will win that battle against
Mm-hmm.
PCOS. And I tell
Mm-hmm.
every girl that don't
Wow.
fall for my friend is doing this, so I need to
Mm-hmm.
do this.
Mm-hmm.
My gynac told me just take the pills and I will be sorted. You
Mm-hmm.
are taking the pills. Till the time you're on the pill, your skin will be great, your periods will be normal, your weight might be balanced, but then what? But if you
Yes.
still don't look at the root cause, which comes from what we're eating, what we are thinking, what we are exercising, what we are drinking, you will never be able to kind of move away from it.
Right.
So, and the biggest reason why PCOS today is a big concern is processed food. That's the biggest
Mm.
cause of PCOS is processed food.
Right.
The
Right.
minute our body is subject to insane amount of processed food, processed drinks, sugar. Today there is sugar in everything we're eating and drinking,
Right.
and it's white sugar. It's in the form of high fructose corn syrup. It is in the form of trans fats. It's all those processed food is what that's made up of in
Right.
sauces and ready to eat foods
Yeah.
in your junk food in your cold chain of foods where you see uh, with high preservatives. So I think you have to look at PCOS more as a lifestyle change and
Uh-huh.
understanding your body. The minute you get understand that yes, this is working for me, not working for me, you can kick it. You don't have to suffer with it, let's say that.
Thank you, Gayatri. And we're living with the pandemic, or hopefully the lag end of it. I mean, we keep
Yes,
hoping there's a light
fingers
on the end.
crossed.
But what
Every year it's been that.
exactly? We're still running on hope. But what have been some of your key learnings uh, during this time?
I'll tell you what I think. I think COVID for every one of us has been an eye opener, a leveler, a balancer of sorts, right? In every,
Hmm.
be it our personal, as a personal, professional, health, everything.
Right.
I think it is like we spoke about, earlier, that it kind of teaches, even with the way countries have dealt with COVID, it shows you what it brings to the forefront, all the things that are lacking and are strong, be it our
Hmm.
health,
Hmm.
be it the where we are living, be it our family, be it work, all of those things, right? So I think
Right.
people have gone through immense amount of change, so to say it. It's also in a lot of ways been a reset button for a lot of people.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, but in terms of health, I think one thing that has been the biggest learning, and I think for most, is that health is not valued till sickness doesn't come. Nobody
Oh.
spoke about immunity. Nobody spoke about popping vitamins. Nobody spoke about sleep. Nobody spoke about mental health till there was COVID,
Mm.
right? So
Mhm.
COVID, in a certain way, has brought health to center stage because it showed that this is the time where our bodies need to be strong to fight this unknown virus, to figure out how it's man. It was almost like man versus the virus.
Right.
And I've always harped on the fact that immunity is not something that is built overnight, but over time. It takes days and weeks and years of eating and drinking the right food and
Mhm.
sleeping the right amount and exercising regularly to build immunity. Suddenly, there are kadas and magic potions being sold, and vitamin sales have gone off the roof, from
Yes.
zinc to vitamin C to these 100 other things which are kind of being sold to build,
Right.
so-called build immunity. Yes, they help, but not if that's all you take. You have to do
Mhm.
5, 10 other things to build immunity, right?
Right.
So uh, I think that in terms of health, I think that has been the biggest learning for most of us.
Thank you. And taking us to your Instagram feed, um,
Yes,
I've seen a lot of posts recently on men's health, and a
right.
few on mental health as well, and well-being. So
Yeah.
take us to the focus on men's health. In fact, I think I just saw a post today that you posted. Um, or was it yesterday? Basically, in
Yeah.
the last 24 hours
Yeah.
on men's health. So
Yes, yes,
I'm going to
yes.
take you to focusing on that aspect.
So as I mentioned, Manisha, that I think COVID for all of us has played its own role, right? And I
Hmm.
think for me, what happened in COVID was so when COVID hit, I had almost taken a sabbatical from
Hmm.
work, from nutrition, because we were moving cities. We moved from Ahmedabad to Bombay, and we were in the middle of a lot of things going on. And when COVID came, I that was the time I realized that what. Uh, Health was in center stage, and I wanted to go back to working. That void was there very strong because I'd not done it for a few years in the middle of setting up Uber and Holly and moving cities. I had
Yes.
stopped my practicing as well at that point. So for me it was just to go back and and study some more, read some more, write more articles. And I took that 1 year to just understand more on the health, because health is a huge umbrella. You have nutrition for children, you have nutrition for pregnancy, for women, hormones, gut. And I said I need to find an area which is where there is a problem which is not really being spoken about.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think the few things that kind of came jarring was men's health and
Hmm.
mental health, and they're both also interrelated, right? Now,
Right.
I think there was this very interesting thing I read about this gentleman called Bill Richardson, and he said that
Ah.
recognizing and preventing men's health is not just a man's problem, but it is an issue that impacts women,
Uh-huh.
wives, sisters, daughters, children. It impacts the entire family, right?
Right.
So when we look at, and also men as a gender don't really seek out that. And now there is that awareness coming in. Now we have
Hmm.
more men talking about mental health, about depression, about
Hmm.
going out. Even, I mean, if you do a random survey of say 10 men and ask them, when was the last time you did a checkup, the answers will be surprising and alarming. When did they go to the doctor? Because a lot of times that we have this mental block, till I don't have a problem, I don't need to go look for
Right.
help. And
Right.
the post that you're referring to, which which I spoke about, the 5 signs and symptoms not to ignore, right, for men, because they're small ones. I mean, they're really,
Yeah.
really small ones. And on an everyday basis, you would not put too much thought into it. But
Right.
those small things, when they keep coming, that's your body telling you that, hey, there's an issue. Maybe you just need to get it checked out. It could be
Right.
nothing,
Uh-huh.
but there's no harm, right? And
Exactly.
the one thing with health is the sooner you catch something, the better handle you have on treating it.
Hmm.
Most
Hmm.
people fear doing health checkups. They'll say, oh, no, 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 I don't want to do a health blood test, and I don't want to do a health checkup. What if something comes out? I
Right.
said, but you rather get to know now
Then
than it
later.
persists and kind of
Hmm.
becomes bigger. So
Hmm.
that's where the whole journey started. I'm still, honestly, it's still new to me. I'm still
Right.
reading, studying, and finding my bearing and foothold on that space. But
Right.
it is something which I feel needs to be spoken about. It needs to be taken forward. We, I mean, I'm a feminist. We all are, talking about women and women's right, but we
Right.
should not forget the men who are also behind us,
Uh-huh.
who do, who are always, who also need their attention, who also need to look at their health, who also
Right.
need to address issues which are otherwise go under the carpet.
Thank you, Gayatri. Yes, thank you. And thank you for highlighting that. Um, I'm bringing us back to food. I know how essential that is to you. However, I'm going to ask you for a tip. If I came to you
Okay.
and said, I know that's a tough one, but if you'll give me a tip on something I should do or not do in terms of food being essential.
I think food is extremely essential. And I think we need to look at food as food, and
Aha.
food needs to bring joy, right? Today, a lot of us fear food. We look at that plate of food, be like, "Ah, I love it, but I can't eat it." That should
Hmm.
not come in, because our mind and our belly, the brain and the belly connection is just too super strong. The minute your
Right.
mind has looked at a food and said that, oh, it's going to make me fat, rest
Right.
assured, it could be a pudding, it could be a cake, it could be a salad. That food is
Aha.
not helping you. It's just not going to go do any good. The minute we eat food with fear, not only do we take the joy away from food, we'll end up, um, it just doesn't, our body will not absorb the
Hmm.
nutrients and vitamins efficiently the way it should.
Right.
Today, we will eat a healthy meal. We'll eat a salad or whatever healthy things people think it is, fat-free,
Ah,
carb-free, high
yeah.
protein, whatever you think it is. But we'll eat it in front of the television or in front of a
Mm,
gadget. What
mm.
is the point? I rather eat a piece of cake with my mind and heart into it and enjoy it and say, don't worry, I will burn this and I'm okay. It's made me happy. That piece of cake will do far more nourishing stuff inside me than a bowl of salad or something really insipid, which I'm forcing down my throat and watching in front of the television because I think it's healthy, right? So my first tip is eat food as food with joy, with your mind and belly connected. Don't eat it just because it's meant supposedly healthy. Eat clean is one. And I think for me is QTQ. I follow the QTQ rule is what I call
Ah,
it. It's the triangle. It's called quantity, time, and quality. If you can balance the quantity of food, the time when you eat it, and the quality of what you're eating, you'll not need a dietitian. You'll not need anybody because you are listening to your body. You're doing as per your body's circadian rhythm. You're following the cycle of your body. You're eating clean food. You're drinking, you're hydrating well. You will not need a doctor or a dietitian.
Gayatri, thank you so much for that. I am going to enjoy my
Yes,
next muffin or croissant, but not in
but
front of the TV.
yes, but exercise, right? And I think
Yeah.
we also
Yeah.
forget exercise. Please be
Mhm.
active. And exercise is not, again, just burning it in the gym and like lifting those weights, right? It's
Right,
about being active, overall being
right.
active, doing
Uh-huh.
activities in everyday life and picking a hobby or an activity which you enjoy. It could be dancing, it could be
Hmm.
skating, it could be tennis, it could be any sport that you want to play. It doesn't
Hmm.
necessarily have to be in the gym or running or whatever. Do what makes you
Right,
happy. At the end of the day,
right.
you have to do what makes you happy. So yeah.
Wonderful.
And
And bringing us to routine, is routine important? And what's your routine like?
so routine is important when it comes to, as I said, to set your body's circadian rhythm, right?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
if you eat
Hmm.
erratically, you're throwing the body off. So two things: sleep and food. Those are the two things you need to have. And I don't mean that you have to be like follow like a Hitler's law that this is it. Like you don't have to be regimental. That there could be a few odd days, but being mindful is what's important, right? That okay,
Hmm.
today I've had a late night. I've slept really late,
Hmm.
and I've still had to wake up. I'll try and get a snooze in the day.
Hmm.
Try and balance the food because always remember the day and you'll notice this. The day you've had a late night, you've had one too many glasses of wine. The next day you've woken up a bit hungover or tired or groggy. Your body will ask for carbs. It'll ask for high fat
Hmm.
food because that's the body saying that hey, I'm too tired to do anything, and that's the hormones that start asking the gut bacteria that says listen, I need to eat that food.
Right.
So that's why routine helps. If you manage to have your sleep on time, making sure at least you get good quality 6 hours. It doesn't have to be 10 hours, 8 hours. Everybody again needs different amount of sleep. Some people function on good, if it's good quality sleep, even 5, 6 hours is good for them,
Right.
right? It's
Uh-huh.
also quality. It's not just the amount you sleep.
Quantity.
You could be in bed for 10 hours, but if you've not had good quality sleep and you've tossed and turned and it's not been a happy night, then your body's still not rested and recovered enough. So it's the quality of sleep. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And Gayatri, before I say goodbye to you, what's next on the cards for you, or what should we be looking out, or what do you want manifesting in your life in 2022?
So I think for me, it's been a beautiful roller coaster. I would say it's had its ups, it's had its downs. In terms of work for me, I've realized that this is my passion for me. I can, as I said, you can see me. I'm talking, and I can go on talking for hours. We could have this interview taken for another hour, and I could go on because I feel very passionate about it. And I think for me right now is I want to talk about issues which are not spoken about, and I want to bring this simple funda of health to as many people as possible. I want to take it to more people. be it men's health, be it talking about the simple living. And when I say simple living, it doesn't mean wearing a sari or a little simple clothes and sitting in meditation, right? That's what most people think simple living is, eating only insipid food and not having a good time. I like to dress well, I like to have a good time, I like to do all the good things. But that doesn't
Right.
mean that's not simple living. Simple living is just keeping things simplified and knowing
Right.
your body better.
Oh,
That's, for
beautiful.
me, that is just keeping it simple and not falling for the fads and the 100
Lovely.
other diets which are circulating all around. But I think that you would see more on men's health. You would
Ah,
see a lot more chat on that. We want to talk about issues which are usually put under the carpet. We want to try to get to more men and understand what the problem is and find the true solution to certain things. And so
mhm.
I'm hoping that this year is more about that.
Oh, brilliant. Gayatri, thank you so very much. It's been such a wonderful pleasure speaking
No,
to you today.
thank you for having me, and you're a lovely person. And I mean, the way we met, the way we came across, it was, the stars were aligned, I guess.
I
And
totally agree. I
so
loved our
I'm,
chance meeting. I really did.
yes, me too. And I'm happy we got to do this together.
Me too. Stay blessed.
Thank you so much, Manisha. Thank you. Have a lovely day ahead.
You too, Gayatri. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye.